Hello everyone, I'm here today with a flip-through video. This one is for my experience at LeakyCon 2023 in Chicago, and I have chosen a 3x8 Ellie Edwards album, and as you can see it's got these beautiful foiled stars on it, and I thought this was perfect because this convention is all about like super nerd fantasy fandoms. It started out, it used to just be Harry Potter. Now it includes Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, of course, Narnia, Stranger Things, really anything you can think of that would be considered a fantasy genre. Percy Jackson, I almost forgot. So there were some people there for Percy Jackson. So all of those different fandoms, if they are considered fantasy, they are represented here. And I went mainly for just a couple of fandoms, but I enjoyed every bit of it. And of course, that means I have to scrap it. Let's get started here. And I will say, one of the things I loved is that I actually picked up quite a bit of memorabilia stuff at the con and was able to use almost all of it. There were very few things that I did not end up using, which is great because, you buy the stuff and then you take it home and sometimes you use it, sometimes you don't, sometimes it gets, left in a bin forever. I really wanted to make sure that I used as much as possible, and I think I accomplished that. So right off the bat, I have a postcard that they were giving out to every attendee, and I did have to cut it down a little bit for it to fit in here, but I did use it. And in order to save on space and not have this be a crazy huge album, I decided to, as often as possible, utilize the backspace of anything that I used. So on here, I did the welcome sign, and I just covered it in pattern paper, did a little stamping on the label, and that's it. But it worked well, and it's very sturdy, and I just used an attacher here from Citrus Twist to make it fit with the rings in the album. This next page, I'm going to be honest, I had this sticker. It's from an Echo Park kind of wizard theme set. I freaking loved the sticker, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to find a way to use that because the owl looks like Hedwig, obviously, and I just love the little stars. And so I had a chunk of this paper, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to use that. It doesn't have to say anything. This little phrase is enough, so I used it. So then we move on to stuff that actually happened once I entered the convention. And so I talked about some cosplay here. Here's a sticker right here. This is an example of something that I found that I purchased on the vendor floor and I brought home. It's sort of a holographic sticker of the Weasley family from Harry Potter. So I put that on there. I did a little bit of stamping. I have, I think, 5, maybe 6 separate stamp sets that are all Harry Potter themed. So having a stamp available with a phrase that I would, want to use, really not a tough thing for me because I have plenty. And then because I have the Weasley family sticker, I had to showcase this woman who cosplayed as the mom, Molly Weasley, and she was great. I mean, look at this sweater that was knitted. I don't know if she did it herself, if she bought it, if someone did it for her, I don't know, but it's magnificent. And then I just have a little pocket card here with a little wood veneer with my Hogwarts letter. And then there was a trolley witch going around with snacks on an actual trolley. So that was very cool to see. I wanted to put her in there. And then this was a mother and daughter who were dressed up as chocolate frogs. And I thought that was so cute. And I happened to have this 9 3/4 card. And I think it was actually 4x4 to start with, I think. So I just cut it down to make it fit. But I figured like those brown tones were so close, I had to use it. And then another great cosplay that I saw was someone dressed up as Draco Malfoy. And I have cards like these for each of the houses. And not much call to use Slytherin usually, because my favorite characters that I would scrap are generally not from Slytherin. So I got to use it here. So that's awesome. I just used a little phrase that I had. I have a ton of these that are different things from the Wizarding World. Slapped that on there, and that was good. And then we headed into some more of the actual events. And one of the first things that my daughter and I did is we had paid to meet Chris Rankin and get our photo taken with him. And if you're not aware, that's who played Percy Weasley in the films. And that's why when I found this sticker that says, "I'm head boy," it was at one of the vendors. I had to get it. How could I not get it? Especially because he was like the MC for the majority of the event. He does these every year. He loves it. He's super invested in the fandom and is proud of playing Percy Weasley. And so he comes to all of them. And so I thought, all right, I want to meet him, get my picture, and then use the memorabilia that I picked up. And then here we were just out on the vendor floor. This is a like life-size howler. It's ginormous. We could fit in. Oh, sorry. I should have said there was maybe some obscenity in there. But we wanted to have our picture taken with that. And then tons and tons of merch. This one was a whole thing for Our Flag Means Death. I forgot to mention that. I guess that is fantasy because it's pirates. And we do watch that in our household. I am sad that it's only 2 seasons and there won't be any more. But I get it. It's kind of run its course already. I'm not sure what more story they could tell. So I was just happy to see it. And I actually bought this shirt that says Cats Are Terrifying. I actually bought that for my husband. So that was a quick one to showcase, but I do enjoy it. And then this person was playing a young Newt Scamander from Fantastic Beasts. So I had stuff for that. Of course, I had a little Newt sticker there. And then I did some fun sequins to go with what's also on the other side, which is the Niffler, which is one of my favorite things from Fantastic Beasts as a whole. Out on the vendor floor, again, there were just tons of different items for sale. So I just tried to showcase some of those. And I just used a phrase label, nothing too crazy. Then my husband, he did multiple things for Sean Astin. He paid to have his picture taken. He also paid for a meet and greet. So he actually got to have like a 5-minute conversation with Sean. They chatted, had a lovely time together, and then he got his picture taken. And that was the highlight for him. He actually only went the first day, whereas I went all 3 days. So he kind of did his stuff the first day and then was out and did some other things around Chicago. And then I continued on for the rest of the weekend. So there you can see, there we are. We're doing our photo. We didn't pay to do the special meet and greet where you actually get to like stand and chat with him for a long time. We just did the photo op. So he was very friendly though. I mean, he did chat with us during that. So I appreciate that. That was great. And he made a goofy little expression, which is fun. Makes our picture unique. And I just put on some chipboard here, a little puffy sticker. That's it. Nothing crazy. And then over here, I just have a simple journaling card. All I did was add washi there. And then we ran into Samwise Gamgee's wife in the movies, Rosie Cotton. And she did an excellent cosplay. So I wanted to feature that as well. More cosplayers, we have Professor McGonagall and the, I hate to use the word hated, but kinda, Dolores Umbridge. And I mean, they both looked great, so it's fine, but not a character that many people love. And then a little sticker, again, that I found at one of the vendors of Neville. So I love Neville, so I had to put him in there. And then we have the Fat Lady and Nearly Headless Nick. And I will say, originally I had a label here, like a square one, where I had written that in, and then decided I didn't like it. I didn't like the way it looked, but when I took it off, it damaged the photo a little bit. Frankly, I was kind of being lazy. I didn't want to reprint, so I found this little star embellishment instead and just covered it up. We have some more great cosplay here. Someone came as Mad-Eye Moody, which was awesome hair and all. And then just a super basic background card. This is another sticker that I picked up from a vendor of Dobby, because Dobby's one of my favorites. And then this was just a table that had a bunch of fun merch items that you don't see all the time. So you could buy mandrakes in their pots. There's a Dobby there, actually. And a bunch of these fun signs. And I actually had a phrase label that says mandrake. I mean, how often am I going to use that? So if it's here, I had to put it on there. So then as part of the programming on Saturday, there were a lot of longer panels and special events happening. And the first one was for Sean Astin, and it was a full hour. So Chris Rankin was the MC, and he did the interview with Sean. And he talked about all kinds of things, like not just his movie roles, but also his role in the strike that was happening. He was on the negotiation team. And so he couldn't say certain things, of course, because those have to be kept private. But he kind of let us know the process and how proud he was to be on that team and representing his fellow actors and writers. So that was really cool. And then this layout actually has a flip attached, and I used some of the ones I have that just have the clear backing because frankly, I didn't want to have to make a bunch of flips for this. The point was to get the album done quickly and easily. So I think that's what I did. And then again, I picked up this sticker from Lord of the Rings, put that on there. And then this is actually a fussy cut digital file that I have for the elven leaf. One of the other things we signed up for was to meet Elijah Wood. So we got to chat with him a little bit, and I absolutely love him as Frodo. I've obviously seen him in other things too, but I'm not gonna lie, Frodo is probably my favorite role. So when he was at the table signing stuff and talking, I took his picture there and then just put this little card in there. And then this was actually later when we got to go and actually have our photo with him. So those kind of happened at separate times. But he was so nice, so sweet, super calm demeanor. I've always suspected he was kind of like that. That's just the energy that he emits. It's all true. And I have to say, he smells great. Whatever he's doing with that routine, Elijah, you smell great. So this was actually a pin that we were all given when we came in and showed our registration. So I just cut the pins off the back of it, the posts, and then put pop dots under it. So figured I'd put it to use that way. And then this is also another digital file that I had. And then this one, this person was dressed up as Harry's birthday cake that Hagrid made him, and it's got even the incorrect spelling on it, which is awesome. It's very authentic. And she walked around like that all day. That must have been a tough costume to wear all day, but she did it. I saw her multiple times. So that was super cool. And I wanted to make it very bright and pink and happy because that's how she looked. And I think I accomplished that with all the little stickers and the little strip that I had left from a piece of paper, the puffy sticker. I think it all works. More cosplay here. I happen to have a card with a quote from Hagrid, and it actually matched pretty well. And so I used that when I got to meet the cosplayer Hagrid. And then later in the day, this was getting fairly late into the afternoon, then we had a 1-hour panel with Elijah. And so he talked about, The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings and other roles that he's done. And we learned that he has he's kind of a connoisseur of frozen pizza, regular pizza too, and he loves Chicago because of their pizza, but also in particular frozen pizza. So learned something new that I never knew about him, and that was really fun. So I have my Lord of the Rings stickers there, added one here as well. This is actually a set of Lord of the Rings inspired digital paper. So I just printed out one of those and used it as a background. And then part of what they do at this con is you can make ribbons and hand them out to people. And that's what hangs from your lanyard. You could see Elijah just has a huge amount here that he picked up from people. I kept all my Lord of the Rings themed ones that I could find and put them on here since they kind of go together. And so I have those on there. And then I have some pictures from during the session. And then I also picked this sticker up from one of the vendors. So as you can see, I'm using a lot of stuff that I bought. I'm very proud of that. And then a couple more of my Lord of the Rings stickers. And then that's it for Elijah's panel. So as we did every day, we walked around the vendor area some more, just met up with people, chatted, all the things you do at a convention. This is a great picture of my daughter and I that I love. And so I wanted to make sure that that made it in there. And I just had some fun Harry Potter themed things around, so I used those. And then one of the panels I went to was actually about podcasting, and I do listen to the MuggleCast podcast. And so they had 2 of their hosts there representing the podcast, and I got to meet Micah and Eric. So these photos were all taken during that podcast session here, so I wrote a little bit about that. And then I instead of Albus Dumbledore, Eric cosplayed as Elvis Dumbledore, and he stayed in character the entire time. When people were asking him questions and he gave his responses, he spoke like Elvis, but yet answered the way Dumbledore would answer. It was very weird, but it worked. It was interesting. I've never seen anything quite like that. And then I just did minimal stuff here, a couple of phrase labels. I had this little flag pennant thing that said, "Seriously," a cauldron sticker, called it good. And then the last major thing we did on Saturday was Tom Felton, rather than doing a panel where he talked for an hour, he did a concert for an hour. And actually it was slightly less than an hour. He ran over time with all the people that were getting autographs and stuff that day, so he was a little late, but we forgive him. And then he did a concert the rest of the time. So I just tried to match the colors here, and I went with a Slytherin wood veneer that I had some lime green puffy stars to match what he's wearing, or at least how the light is hitting it in this, and the little phrase label. And that's really enough because you know what? Tom is enough as is. And then towards the end, Sunday, it was way quieter. People tend to leave. There's not a whole lot of people that still attend on Sunday, and it's really like only half a day. So there's not a ton happening. But I went, and so I just talked about my experience at the end of the con. And then here's another sticker I picked up. Join SPEW, the Society for the Preservation of Elvish Welfare. I had to think about it for a minute. So I wanted to have that. And then luckily I had some more ribbons left that kind of matched the colors and were very bright and cheerful. And Luna's glasses, Luna's one of my favorite characters, so I had to put that in there. And then last but not least, the very last thing I did on Sunday before I left is I had a session with Tom Felton. So we got to chat a little bit, and I had just read his book not long ago, and so we talked a little about his book. I told him he's a great writer. He should continue to do it because I loved the book. He has a great writing style, and he was very gracious and super friendly. And then he actually set up this session where you can talk with him, and then he would actually do selfies with you. So I got a little conversation, and I got some great selfies, and I think he took like a total of eight or nine on my phone. And I just picked this one because I love our smiles in both of it, but really they were all good. So now you've seen my experience at LeakyCon and how I chose to scrap all of the memorabilia and different things I picked up. And I would say if you are into any of these fandoms, definitely consider going to LeakyCon. For this year, 2024, it's in Portland, and I'm choosing not to go because I was just in Portland recently, and so I didn't really want to go back there so soon. So I'm hoping 2025 maybe it'll be in a different city that I'll want to go to because I'd love to do it again. But I hope that you enjoyed seeing this album and it inspires you to do your own. Thanks for watching.